This morning, I woke up from a dream about my grandpa's house. Not actually about my grandpa, but about his house. Or the house that I knew him in. The very house that he lived in for the last few years. And it really struck me. I could remember the wide entrance and all the crap that was stacked in the hallway. I can remember the smell of the living room and how the boards of the floor gnarled and snarled under every single step that you made. I remember his vast collection of clocks and watches that construed this enormous background noise of ticking and talking and tacking. I remember the backyard with the apple tree. But in my dream, I don't have a single memory of my grandpa, of a woman that he lived with in the past few years of his life. I only remember the house. And that bothers me because he's family and apparently I never knew him. We started visiting my grandpa, or at least I have a conscious memory of visiting him since I was about 10 years old. And we would go there every other month or so and have these tremendously boring conversations. Because, you know, he was old, about 80, 85, and he didn't have much to say really. It was really my grand-aunt who was in charge of the whole thing. And he just said yeah and no and maybe, and that was it. That was his contribution to every single conversation that I can remember. But it's so sad. And then finally, about 8 years ago, he started to retrieve his mental capabilities. So he asked my mom to reserve a place in an elderly home somewhere close to our house in the very city where we live. And he started talking again about his past and his future, and it was so reviving. And it bothers me until today that I didn't use that time. Because 2 months later, he let his doctor convince him to make this silly operation in his genitals. And then 1 month later, he deceased from an infection that he got in this surgery. We could have talked about how he survived 2 world wars. How he met and married his wife during a time of major economical and social crisis. How he traveled Eastern Europe on his coal trading vessel. How he chose to settle down in Berlin and build a home for himself and his family. We never talked about any of this. And on his funeral, I couldn't think of any words to say about him. I couldn't think of any tears to cry for him, because I never knew my grandpa. And that begs the question, how many other people are out there that I never knew, that I never really took the chance of getting to know closer? How many people are out there that could be so valuable for my life? All the stories that remain unheard. All the memories that we never shared. All the moments that are now lost and forgotten. So here's my advice. If you have the opportunity to meet people that you don't know yet, the way that you wish you would know them, take a chance. Because when we reach the autumn of our lives, we cling on to every piece of memory that we have, whereas every chance that we let pass will appear as a deep and troubling loss. Take your chance and talk.